in a while when it comes to the YouTube live. But I'm back doing interviews and whatnot, and I got my guest up here. His name, oh well, I'm gonna let y'all get that part right there. I'm gonna let y'all get that part.
Yo,
You're
what's up, bro?
gonna get a nuke real quick. What's going on?
Alright,
Tell me your name and where you from.
alright. My name, do you want my artist name or my actual name?
Artist,
Call me Bryce, and I'm from Virginia.
the land of Pusha T.
Yes, sir.
Well, Pusha T and Trey Songz in particular. But what made you get into being an underground artist?
For me, it all started kind of as like I wanted to prank one of my friends with making music, and then I realized I was actually kind of good at this shit. So I figured, I'm gonna continue chasing my dreams and stuff. So that was like one of the main reasons I became an artist.
And your friends pushed you to do it because they saw talent, or they just wanted you to do it just to do it.
I think a few of mine know that I'm talented and they saw it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's talent, bro.
And talent goes a long way as long as you consistent with it, and as long as you keep it going and keep doing what you do. But
Always.
but were you inspired by any artist
Um,
that you listen to?
I'd say like right now, currently I'm trying to make my own sound, but I'd say one artist that really like pushed me was Juice World, and a lot of my music can kind of reflect off of him. I'm trying not to just copy his flow though, so I'm trying to spread off when I'm early and do my own thing.
So you want to create your own sound, and that's a good thing because not a lot of artists these days they don't want to do that. They want to copy off what everybody else is doing instead of making their own lane. And what do you think about that when it comes up to that?
Uh, can you say that again?
A lot of artists choose to be choose to copy off other people, other artists instead of making their own lane. And how do you feel about that?
I feel like copying other artists ain't really you. So it's like you're not being you when you're copying other people, and you kind of just sometimes have to make your own art. And people want to listen to you; they don't want to listen to another person. So you have to be you in the industry, and it's just something you got to learn.
Do you think it's better to be independent or signed to a record label?
Definitely, I signed into a label probably definitely helps a lot more. You get studio time and lawyers, all that. So I think definitely signing to a label is a lot better than going independent.
And why do you think signing to a record label is more than being independent? Like, but make when your point of view, how do you think it's better to sign to a record label than being independent?
In my opinion, record labels provide you with a lot more than you can get when you're independent as an artist. They can do a lot more for you. They can put out albums and put out EPs for you on certain websites that you probably wouldn't be able to get on unless you'd have to pay for it, like DistroKid. So I think labels just really help push an artist to be more than what they are as an independent artist.
Now let's see now as far as music and artistry goes. If you had one song to from your selection to introduce to people, what would it be and why?
As of right now, I would probably say Rockstar Status. It's one of my favorite songs that I've made recently. It's got a lot of energy. It's a great vibe, and me and my producer put in a lot of time on that song.
And as far as the trends go, like the trends you see artists chase chase trends and whatnot. So, do you think they should adapt or be themselves?
I think one of the best things you can do is probably create your own trend. You can create your own trend. That's definitely the best thing you can do. Don't try to copy other people. It's really being an artist. Yeah, like making music is like you're painting yourself. So it's like I'm trying to paint myself here. I'm trying to show the world who I am and not who like other people are. You know.
And as far as the follow up question for the artists chasing trends, do you think they should adapt to what's hot or force the culture upon to adapt to them?
See, that's a good question. I think it really depends where you are in your career. I feel like when there is a trend, you can always make your own spin off of it. You can always do your own thing with the trend. It definitely helps to be in trend, but there's ways that you can do to make it your own.
So you saying they should do their own thing and make them feel them
Yeah,
because the audience they're gonna expect that artist to chase a trend whether it's crashing out or doing what everybody else does like streaming and whatnot because streaming to me it's a trend because every famous person is doing it. Even the
yeah,
up and comers are like doing the streaming thing. So I feel like streaming is a trend nowadays that everybody jumped on when it was popular. They didn't do it back then because they didn't know what streaming was back then until 2018 and 2019. That's when the streaming gig really got popping. So that's what that I think streaming is a trend because that's what everybody turned their faces to. When they seen popular people like Casanat or Aiden Ross, they were streaming. Everybody else wanted to start streaming as well. So
ah,
I think like streaming is a trend in my book. Now, now, let's see. What's a lesson you learned from music that applies to real life situations?
one thing I learned is that even when you're not like doing well, maybe inside your head at a time, you can still turn that into something great. You can still work at something really hard. And I think that's like one of the main things I learned from music is that even at my worst, I can put out some of the best songs I ever did. So that's one thing I definitely learned.
Now, in the big 2026, do you think artists need talent or do they need talent, consistency, or marketing the most?
I'd say marketing is probably one of the most important things they can do right now. It's great to put yourself out there, and it's just so important to get a bigger audience. And marketing is one of the main things that can get you that. So I really think marketing is probably the most important thing in 2026. Maybe a couple of years ago, I'd argue consistency, but right now it's definitely marketing.
Now, now let's talk about business and social media for a second. You talked about now. Let's say you talking about building income outside of the music. Should artists focus on streams or building or personal brand?
Um, I think streams is really important. Not only can having more streams get you probably some signings from labels possibly, but streaming is just overall probably the best way to get your name out there, the best way to maybe get some concert deals. Streaming is probably the most important thing you can do money wise as an artist.
But there's a downside to it. They don't pay the artist the whole thing. You know that like
Yeah,
okay, if you got a song out on Spotify and it does like a billion streams, they're gonna take most of that and leave you with a little portion of the remainder. So that's what you gotta watch out for when it comes to streams and streaming on apps like Spotify and whatnot, like dropping music on Spotify or all them. But Spotify they will short you. That's why some artists either go to DistroKid or they go to United Masters for
yeah.
dropping music or whatnot. Now, now let's see. Current event. Let's see. Let's talk about current events and culture. AI is everywhere and it's changing changing music left and right. And it's also changing jobs and content creation. Do you think it's helping creators or hurting or replacing and hurting?
Um, that's like a harder question. I'd say I think it might be hurting creators, to be honest.
And why do you think it's hurting creators?
It's just not like there's something about it that's it's just affecting like the artists and just the people in general. I'd say that's my answer on that.
With Dr. Dre making music with AI and what making music with AI and whatnot, many people frowned upon him for using AI to make music and whatnot, which is kind of understandable, but a little crazy at the same time because
I feel like it
AI is everywhere.
Yeah, I just feel like it takes away from it being art. Like you're not making it, nobody's really making it, so no one can really have like a right over it because the AI made it, and that's like artificial intelligence. So, yeah.
But people seem more divided than ever online. Does social media helps people come together or it breaks them down one by one?
Um, I think social media actually helps people come together. It helps people not stay so confined as well. I feel like you can meet a lot of people on social media. It just depends on the person, I guess, really.
Emphasis on depends on the person because people out here these days they don't know the value of teamwork and friendship and whatnot. They all out for themselves. I say is pulling people apart because people are nowadays they're selfish and they're all out for self when it comes to the content creation because you got all these people out here they making content nowadays like a streamer you for example streamer you everybody that wanted to join up there was turned down and denied, but they could have really came together and made their own little thing. But instead, they want to, piggyback off Kai and whatnot. So it's really a 50-50 thing. It can bring people together, but it can also pull them apart because the selfishness out there, the jealousy, envy, and whatnot. So I say it's a 50-50 thing because
Sure.
it goes both ways when it comes to support.
Yeah, I'd 100% agree with you.
Next question. Let's see. Next question. All right, let me see. Do you think the American dream is still alive or has it changed into something different?
I think the American dream is still alive. Obviously, people still come here to live a life that they want to like dream about, and even me, like I'm chasing something, and people can't dream like I'd say I do and other artists do in other countries. Where in the U.S. you really can, because there's always ways, and if you want to be better, you can be better, and that's just something that the U.S. provides to people.
I hate being on the political end of the stick, but it is what it is. Now, here's a personal question. You're turning 35 and you thinking about all the fun times that you had. If you can sit down with your 25-year-old self for at least 3 to 5 minutes, what is the first thing you would tell them?
I would tell myself to cherish the moments, live in the moment. Don't be so caught up in everything else going on. Try to enjoy what you have. I think that's probably one of the main things that I'd say for sure.
And what is the opinion that you disagree with about music and so far as being underground and up and coming? Like, what is the opinion you disagree with the most?
I'd say one of the main things I disagree with is that you don't really have to. Hold on, what was the word I was trying to use here? It was it's hard work. Like you can go without talent, and that's just not true. If you're not talented in music, you're not going to be anything. So this really requires talent to make it. And so I'd say I've heard a lot of people say you can make it with just hard work, but that's just not true.
You gotta have hard work, talent, charisma, and let me see what else. You gotta have those main three:
And
hard
don't
work,
forget about
talent, and charisma.
consistency too.
Because well, you got some lazy motherfuckers out there, but you gotta have consistency as well. But the main three is hard work, talent, and charisma. Because charisma can get you so far when it comes to
100%.
music. Because when you're like you going in confident.
My fault. I think you glitched out there.
I call somebody was interrupting me. But
Nah, you good,
being
bro.
consistent, being consistent has its ways. Like being consistent, you got to do this, you got to do that. But when it comes to having charisma, you got to have it mostly. You got to have it because charisma can get you far, but it can short you as well. So
Yeah.
like look at all the other people that came that was rapping before anybody was rapping. Like they had charisma, they had the talent, and they didn't have streams that people did had compared to now. Back then, everybody was selling out of the trunks of their car, like the CDs and whatnot. They was selling them out the trunk of their car. Yes, I remember those days. But now you can just drop a song on Spotify and boom, it's just there. You gotta build now. All you gotta do is build up the streams and
Yeah.
and your audience and whatnot. That way you can just push through and maybe get some attention on you. But hard work, you gotta have that. That is the first thing you gotta have in your arsenal is the hard work. You gotta put in the hours in the studio. No being lazy. I mean, you can have a few rest days, but you can't be too lazy with it though. Because if you be too lazy, that wears into your like your and that wears into you, and it also wears into the fire that you have, and it'll get put out as easily as you set it. So you gotta have that. Man, you gotta have that in order to be successful when it comes, be successful in any business, whether it's music, whether it's content creation, whether it's making clothes and whatnot. Like you got a little small business, you gotta have those three things, and well, four. You gotta have those four things. Which
100% for sure.
now, is there any questions?
What's up?
Is there any more questions? Any more statements?
I swear you keep glitching out, bro. I'm sorry.
Now, I was saying, is there any more questions and statements?
Um, I can say be expecting a lot more from me soon. I got some big projects coming up and to be excited for. I will say that for sure.
I'll be on the lookout for 'em.
Yes, sir.
How to end it all. And you were a guest on this week's episode.
What's up?
I was saying you was I'm finna end it off and whatnot.
Um, I just say check out all my socials. I'll definitely be back here, of course, staying connections with you for real. And peace out.